Hello, everyone. Hey guys, let me know please if I'm echoing or you can't hear my audio or see anything. Can you hear me? Can you see me? Alright, Mike says it's all good. Sounds good. Alright, I'll keep going unless someone tells me there's a glitch, because I've done it once or twice before where I thought everything was good. Alright, hope everyone's well. If you came here wanting me to sort of talk badly about individual life coaches, I'm not going to do that. I don't like picking on individuals. I'm just saying as a whole, I don't like life coaches who put other people down. I don't like people who pretend to help other people and say they do, but all they're doing is putting other people down and they're getting off on it in a sadomasochistic relationship. Get your questions ready, guys. And while you do, remember, as always, make your questions stand out in the feed so I can see them, so they stand out. We've got about 90 people at the moment. I'm assuming we've got a fair number from Victoria. Are Victorians happy here that the lockdowns are almost over, barring the masks? Yeah, the main thing about the I just wanted to reiterate about sort of people even labeling yourself a life coach. You know, I know everything about life. I'm an expert. For me, it's a kind of a little bit grandiose. I suppose if they're helping people, fine. But there's too many of these kind of gurus that like, as far as I can see, they like putting men down in a form of kind of tough love. But the guys that they're doing this to seem like they need something else because they've come from that already. They've come from being put down by women and the system and feeling like they've been stepped on. And here's a guy supposedly saying some positive things, because the thing is that a lot of that side of the manosphere, they talk about some really good, sensible, stable things like, you know, male nature, female nature, how men and women relate, what not to do. But there's a little bit of that condescending man up attitude. And for most guys who can recognize it, you can see you came from that a long time ago, and I don't need to hear that again. I need something different. That's old patterns of thinking and communicating. It's very schoolyard to me. Thank you for the super chat, Alpha Mailed. He says MGTOW used to put me down a lot for having my own opinions. Really? That's funny. The acronym should say otherwise. Isn't that interesting? It's another reason I don't use the acronym anymore. I didn't want to fight with people who didn't recognize that it was about going your own way. It was about individuality and individual guys sharing and talking with each other. He says, MGTOW used to put me down a lot for having my own opinions. There is good and bad on both sides of the fence. That's true. As long as you're not rude and you're not civil, I don't know why guys get so defensive. I suppose there's people that say that the degree to which you react angrily or aggressively or defensively, there's something about that you're insecure about. I always give the example, if, for instance, I know I love my family. And if someone said, human, you don't love your family, I'd just laugh. I wouldn't get angry and fight. I was like, I know I love my family. Is this a joke? So someone who gets really angry and defensive, it's like you're really, really defending something that I'm not quite sure if you're sure of yourself. Like, do you really believe what you believe that you have to defend it so angrily? Boffin says, do you have to be dead to be a good death coach? I suppose. Look, I suppose if you have experience, there's nothing wrong with it. I don't know, that life coach, like I can tell you about all of life. Maybe maybe it's me. Maybe I just have a sore point with it. Look, it could be wrong. Don't listen to me, guys. If you like life coaches, go for it. All right. Let's see if there's any other questions I missed. Omega Sigma Human, is it possible that the life coach's premise of helping men is a ruse, that their target audience is in fact women looking to game the system by countering the life coach's advertisements? Maybe. You can always have the non-audience observing and taking notes. Predators do that, narcissists do that. They observe, they read people, they find your weak points, they find what works, not necessarily what you generally say. You're a woman looking at these life coaches coaching men into what to do. They'll be taking mental notes and going, oh yeah, okay, I'll recognize that when I see it in a man. He's trying to do X, Y, and Z. So, and I think guys do that in those PUA circles as well. They find out what women's games are, what men find out what, women find out what men's games are, and they're playing these kind of theatrical chess games in front of each other when they're on dates, rather than just trying to get to know another person. Look, sometimes I think that a weak guy who has no sense of himself, who's kind of not mentored to kind of come to terms with who he is. And let's face it, not everyone's a bad person. Like, if you're a kind-hearted person, it doesn't mean you need to become an a-hole. It means you need to fortify who you are and protect yourself and set your boundaries. What's the point of becoming someone else, acting like someone else, so you don't get hurt? But you always feel like you're fake in some way. You always feel like, you know, like when you go to work and there's a certain veneer you put on, a certain professionalism, it's still you, but there's a certain formal act you put on. If you do what a lot of these life coaches and PUA kind of guys do in terms of game, and look, the game works, a lot of their tactics work, but if you do that more and more, you see it works, you start to, in essence, live more and more as though you're at work, at a job, putting on the suit and tie and acting formal and, you know, being all PC and everything, but you're doing it in the dating, mating realm. And then you're only yourself at home when you know, if you live with a woman or, you know, those guys that want to marry, they only have their shed to be themselves with their hobbies and their friends or whatever. They escape. When they escape to those places, they're escaping to relaxing and being themselves. If you can't relax and be yourself in front of, you know, supposedly the woman you want, I mean, what's the point? I think there's a lot of mental frustration in, okay, for me, for this to work, for this relationship to work between me and another person, I only feel calm in respect to not being hurt to the degree to which I act formal in this alpha male kind of way compared to a female in the mating realm. Now I feel safe and protected. She won't hurt me because I've got this act on. But then that means that in the back of your head, you know that well, if I ever show her all these little things that I know women don't tend to like, or she may leave me for, I know she really doesn't care about me. She cares about this act as long as I keep this up. But if I completely let go and I'm 100% myself like I am with my friends, when I call my buddy over and we watch a movie and we just talk about anything, and I can tell him what my fears are, what worries me, and so on and so forth. I'm not saying be weak, but just unapologetically just be who you are. Lack of fear, that's it. Because a lot of it is a defensive stance by putting on a lion suit in a lot of these PUA kind of tropes and affectations. All right, let's go for I'll go through some comments regarding the last video. Just the name says, a man saying to another man, "Don't be a whatever," is the same as a woman saying, "Who hurt you," to a man. In either case, it leaves a man with nothing but shame and regret. Yep, well put. Remember to highlight your questions if you have any, guys, so I can see them. Quasi-Mandias, how are you, man? He says, the only good advice is that one needs to find what fits for oneself by oneself. Beyond that, it's puffery. Exactly. I think you even said it. Take the medicine you need, or something to that effect. But also, it's that kind of, there might be the nuance of something before that, getting a sense where your footing is as a guy, and a good mentor, and a good man to talk to. Just like if you luckily found a good male therapist, if you went down that route where you didn't have any friends to talk to, a good one, I've heard, is the one that lets you work things out yourself, and he lets you feel comfortable where you can trust him. He's never going to come down on you on like a ton of bricks and shame you. Unlike a lot of these shaming life coaches and PUA gurus. Another thing, everything revolves around getting a woman. Everything is about women. Even when they say it's not, it's about starting a business or whatever, and it's just, yeah. And conveniently, women love that. Yeah, how convenient. The Dead Man Switch asks, how do you do that though? I'm 32 and I've had depression for half my life. Everyone around my age is already married and has kids. It wasn't just because I see them have a family. Always. Look, everyone's situation is different, I suppose. I mean, Quaz can answer that, but diagnosed clinical depression is different. I tend to talk about the average guy who hasn't sort of got a biological imbalance like that hasn't been sort of properly diagnosed. When it's about the frustrations and challenges of day-to-day life, men and women, all that kind of stuff that most guys tend to go through. How do you like the color space today? How does it look? I like the blues, the cool blues. Anyway, off topic. Red Baboon, is it morally acceptable for a life coach to give out advice when the majority of them have no formal training in psychology or counseling? Yes and no, because psychology and counseling is just opinion anyway. It's not a science, don't forget, guys. And a lot of them are just the majority of that therapeutic psychology therapy industry vast majority is broken people and broken women at that. There's, put it this way, the small amount of men in the therapy and psychology industry, just the way they speak and look, and what they say, how they communicate, they don't exude a lot of masculinity as far as I can see, and what I've heard. It's like trying to find Bigfoot to find a good therapist as a guy going through what we tend to talk about and our challenges. Trying to find a guy that can kind of understand the masculine aspects of what you're trying to sort of what you're being challenged by, that's even harder. Whereas trying to find a broken woman with her own neurotic nightmare going on that went into therapy to help herself, to help her own problems, that's a lot easier. That's like closing your eyes and throwing a marble, and you'll hit a female therapist who's got her own problems, has trying to mentor other people. She's sort of analogous to a lot of these male PUA guru types. I see a lot of women in the therapeutic industry as the same thing. They get off on a superiority complex where now they don't have to be afraid because they're sitting there in a position of hierarchical power above the broken person sitting in front of them. And more so if it's a man, if they themselves as a woman had problems with the men in their lives, now if they're actually dealing with a man, it ameliorates that. They kind of feel like they've got a position of authority above this broken man. And she gets sort of little dopamine trickles of kind of like, yeah, I feel better now. Now he's below me. I'm getting some sort of unconscious revenge on my ex in the drip-like fashion, with this man on the couch sitting across from me, asking me for help, apologizing. And then I can dole out the advice. Like, I can give him the advice that, I can give him the words that I wish I would have given my ex. I can tell him what I think right now. So be very wary of the psychology and therapy industry. I'm not saying it can't be helpful if you have no other options. You don't have family and friends and men to talk to that can understand and that won't shame you. This is the important thing about this stream that I want to reiterate. I'm not picking on any life coach in particular. That whole aspect of shaming men to make yourself feel good, and it's all about looking great, making money, and you'll get the chicks. That's not the kind of thing I find very interesting or helpful. And I would say when I look at the majority of those guys' audience and clients, they're broken men that their kind of therapy and help is making these guys' lives harder. The tough love is when you've done the foundational work. Then you can do that. But more importantly, like I said in the video, I think that hazing tough love is most effective face-to-face with guys. When we're at the gym pushing each other in sport competitively, where we can see the nuance of facial interaction. And because there's a threat of, we can tell when it's serious and a person's really putting us down, it can escalate to physical violence. But when you're sitting across from someone on the internet and they're putting you down and they're doing it smugly, and you know there's not going to be any physical interaction, or you read a book where someone puts you down, or you listen to something, it's so distant. And as I said, sometimes a lot of the guys that are listening to these thoughts, they're filtering it through their own brain. So the voice is almost their own, sometimes can become the voice in their own head, like a superego. So if the life coach is a superego putting you down, you're going to feel even worse. And for guys that are fetishistically, they used to get off on being put down all the time, they thought that was love by their ex-partner or by their boss or whatever, then it just seems familiar when a PUA coach is putting you down and saying, stop being a loser. You know, stop being a... Krista, says, for me, it seems like most people focus on how confident you are, and so forth, how things are said, and not the actual content. Any thoughts on that? Yeah. People are superficial, not just in today, how they look and Instagram and how they pout and their abs, and but also in how they speak. Whatever words they can say that they can make them appear to be smart or more powerful or to shut someone down, the actual quality of words and the content and what's said, the knowledge shared, the sort of empathy in what's being said, the understanding, sharing and things like that in words themselves, that they don't matter. It's about what I can say to get likes, what words and sounds I can spit out of my mouth that people will turn around and take notice. A lot of it is shock tactics, but yeah, content's not that important these days. What they say, the what was a 19th century writer and philosopher, De Boer, somebody, he talked, it's been floating around the internet for a while now. It's about the society becoming enamored with the spectacle and not the substance of things. I think that's happening in every respect, physically, verbally. Yep. Sensible questions, guys. And if I've answered them before, I'm not going to waste everyone's time again. Unless it's something I think is pertinent to what we're talking about at the moment. Remember, also make your questions stand out with emojis and little icons and things like that. Kubasniak says, I'm a dude and I just want to be effing loved by someone. I'm cursed by showing it physically, by cuddling, intimacy, friendship, and authenticity in relationships. I come from a dysfunctional family, yeah. At least you've got the reflection to know what you are, not pretend to hate yourself and put on a lion suit and be some sort of fake alpha and hide from the reality of things. At least you've done that. And yeah, that's a good thing, man. It sounds glib. I'm not telling you need to get into a relationship, but surround yourself with people, whether they're friends or whether you want to find a lover. That, I said it before, there's a refreshing honesty that comes from either being rejected or liked for who you actually are, because you're being that, rather than there's some psychological, I don't know, it turns you insane and gives you sleepless nights where you can't figure it out. And it's because if you were putting on a lion suit and that worked in the world, you get either loved or rejected for that. When you're left empty and there's no real you to go back to because you've forgotten who that is, you don't operate in that realm very often or at all, then you find it hard to get back to, being normal again, being fine again, being able to sleep again. So I don't mean to be glib, but be rejected or liked for who you are, and not for the act. Jack says, wouldn't you say it's about doing your own research when looking for a coach? Yes, for a therapist, for anyone. I don't like the name coach, but that notwithstanding, fine. If a person can help you, they can help you, regardless of what they're called, whatever. I'm just being general. But yeah, especially for men, but they say in general, research, if you're going to therapy, research something. Don't just kind of pick someone and say, oh, they're all going to help me. It's not like you're vitamin D deficient and any vitamin D supplements will pretty much be the same, or you need to put sugar in a recipe and any sugar will help. The brand doesn't matter. The brand matters very much in terms of finding the right kind of person, because this is personal. You've also got to remember the person across from you that's going to help you you'll probably start to have a mini relationship until you can go off on your own. And so that relationship, you need to get along with them. They need to, fit with you. They need to see your point of view, and you need to fit with them in terms of conversation. They can't just be talking at you and offloading their past onto you. And they can't be that one-trick pony that most of them are. So a lot of them, they've got their own biases, especially the females. I would say as a man, look for, if you can, a male therapist or someone who's going to help you if you've got no friends or people you can talk to, because that's all you want. You want someone you can confide in, and through them you can help yourself. That's what it ultimately ends up being. Because at the end of the day, they're not really going to tell you what to do. They're mostly going to get you to tell yourself what to do. And that's where you feel autonomous, because they're not there feeding you pills, and then when you leave their office and you're confronted by a situation in life or with a woman, you can't go, hang on a minute, before I answer that, let me ask my therapist. No, you need to be your own autonomous therapist, if you like. Jax, I'm sure you can find good ones. Yeah, I'm sure you can. It takes work, but you just got to think about also the person that's in that state. They're broken. On top of being broken and needing help, they're suffocating, they're drowning. They've also got to go out and search for and be conscious and aware enough not to take the first therapist that seems like they can help them because they're so desperate. They're dying. They're going to go, not yet. I'll suffer a bit more until I can find someone objectively. That's very hard to do depending on how broken you are and your childhood trauma on top of that. And some people have it a lot worse, and it's very varied. Because in that state, you just want the pain to be over. It's very hard to be rational, stable, and conscious while you're looking for a therapist, because you're in a state of anything but that. So it's pretty challenging for the person who's got to their limits where they're looking for a therapist or a psychologist. Pound Dog, how much life do you need to experience to qualify as a life coach? I've often questioned these guys' credentials. Yeah, I do too. Look, like I said, the problem isn't so much the term, although to me it sort of is a bit pompous and grandiose. I'll teach you about life. Yeah, what aspect? All of it. You ask me something and I'll have an opinion. I'll have an expert opinion that I'll tell you forcefully. And it's very binary too, you notice? They're very, very sure, these guys. There's no ifs or buts. It's very black and white. There's no nuance. They almost don't care what your particular situation or problem is. Your problem's a cookie cutter one as far as they're concerned. You'll start the sentence, well, this happened. Yeah, I've heard it all before. Take this pill. Next. The Dead Man Switch. Human, what's your take on hedonism, social media, and do you think that we're already doomed, or if there is even a hope of escaping shallow dopamine surges and return to old times? I don't think we're going to return to old times. Big complex question. I think the human race will adapt. I think a lot of the stuff that we were proud of in terms of intellectually in the mid 20th century, that's not going to come back. I'm not just talking about the traditional family and how men and women related. Men and women, I don't think, are going to relate like we did in the past. We're going to adapt to something differently. I mean, there's a problem. People talk about women say they want jobs and careers, but what they really want is a traditional man will do blah, blah, blah. But they don't pick it, so it doesn't matter. If women are continually going to take the bait of things that don't make them happy in the long term, then they're going to continue to do that. It doesn't matter what you can tell women, what would be good for women in the long term, They're going to do what they're going to do. Same as men are going to do what they're going to do. But you're going to have to deal with the responsibility of what you're left with afterwards. It's a cottage industry. It's a racket. Yeah. Let's see some of these. Some more questions under my video. The last one. Luciano had a nice one. He said, I think these gurus are a great reflection of just how much positive male influence has been lost on the behalf of pop culture and Hollywood dogma in over the last 4 decades. Because we as men are the ones setting examples always for each other, and will always look to find something to emulate out of each other if we see it as risk-worthy. Men depend just as much as women on social cues for their personality and physiological development. Why do you think a lot of normie dudes look up to athletes and military veterans? Yeah, good point. It is also important to consider how, as the concept of a community becomes more dilute, yeah, this is important, so does the concept of helping somebody. It's why it's important to choose your mentors wisely. And it's hard to do when you're in that moment. You may not be wise and you may be broken. He continues, I mean these shallow terms don't even descend from conventional real-life settings. They're literal pop culture and Hollywood catchphrases. This is why we need to bring male spaces back to society. Yeah, in a way, I kind of agree with you. Part of me, when people say, oh, we need to bring the old male spaces back, my knee-jerk reaction is like, I don't need it. I'm not that. I can talk wherever I want. I don't need a little safe space like these blue-haired feminists might. But at the same time, there isn't even a safe space to speak, like publicly. The areas that I can actually speak my words, I have to bleep my out because I can't say simple words, because the context of words don't matter. The words themselves that are forceful in the eyes of snowflakes out there matter. That's all that matters. The context and meaning, the substance of sentences and the meaning conveyed, it doesn't matter. You said this word. That makes people offended and fragile. You said uncomfortable things. You're inciting depression. Nice comment though, Luciano. Thanks for the super chat, Alpha Mailed. I'll get to your question in a sec. I'll just go down through some of the other questions in the live stream. Yeah, what would Clint Eastwood do? That works for Viking adventurer. What would Clint Eastwood do? What would Sean Connery do? That's more pertinent. The legend just passed away recently. Yeah, Mike says, human, if a man needs to escape, something is wrong. Really wrong. Exactly. Thanks for the sub. Benchen, how are you, man? I hope life isn't painful or at the moment, or less painful than it was yesterday. Benchen says, I'd hate to buy a house, but then only be able to be myself in the shed or the basement. Yeah, exactly. And think about it in terms of a relationship. Say you're with a girl or you're married to her. Oh, God. And you put on an act everywhere. And you're somehow proud of this life that you give 100% to from morning till night, but you can only relax and be yourself like you do with your friends in the shed when she's not in front of you, when she can't hear you. That's when you can kind of relax and go, oh, I'll take that suit off. Oh, I can hear her voice, suit back on. Yes, dear. Oh, of course I want to watch reality TV with you. Give me a moment. Ugh. I don't know how guys can put on that act. Is it the formality of the dating process, they just get locked into that and they just stay that way their whole lives with a person. It's like, oh, well, this is what I've shown her. I feel guilty about actually changing and showing her the real me, because I wouldn't like that if she acted a certain way and then, because that's the way I am. I tend to just bleh, let it out and be myself. If they don't like me, they don't like me. And I expect that as well. I know what women are like. It's foolish to expect that from women mostly. But for the women that it's worked for me, the relationships I have had, I myself, they like me, they like me. That way I don't feel guilt later when I feel like, oh, I put on a Romeo act and now I'd really like to kind of unveil myself a little bit. I hope she stays. At least I never have to feel guilty about that. If they do that, that's on them. Like, I don't care. Spec Ops Tower. He says, I have a man cave. It's called the whole effing house. Yep. High five, man. I've got the same. So does Vention. Alpha Male's super chat. Thank you for the donation. His question statement: too much jealousy for guys who dated and get laid in MGTOW. If you have nothing better to do, you can run game. It's all red pill. Yeah, red pill's become very broad a term now. Clint Eastwood. How old's that guy now? He's in his 90s. I expect to hear he's passed away this year or next. Anytime soon, really. Guy's really old. Okay. Whoa. Jumped. Okay, I've missed some of the questions, guys, because the stream's jumped. The feed just refreshes when it feels like it. Betsy says, the lives given in the past, also we can destroy ourselves with TikTok and CRISPR. Don't know what CRISPR is. I heard about TikTok, yeah. Little transient, no attention span living. Jeez. How can you maintain any kind of relationship with anyone in your life? You're never there. You're always flying off. AC. No, I'm bleeping out the words in real time because these live streams go up and then they kind of they limit it if it's not sanitized. So I bleep words when I say the word. When I want to say the word, I bleep it out in real time myself. I have my finger on the bleep button when I feel myself needing to swear. The games we play. Trevor West, the ultimate life coaches are still the Stoics and traditional monks. Yeah, the Stoics. That's why I said they've stood the test of time. And you notice that no one really faults them. Men respect them. Everyone tends to respect them. What can you really point to in Stoic writing that's laughable? Ice Nose, super chat. Thank you, man. His question is, or comment, I think it's so ironic when I watch your videos and an advert for engagement rings comes on right before. I have no control what ads come on, guys. Sorry. Anyway, a shout out from the USA. Take care. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. If you got questions, guys, make sure you make them stand it out with emojis, bracket them before or after, just so that I can see them properly. Hey says, what's the solution with this modern woman if you want a family and kids? Big challenge. Some guys go overseas. I don't know what the solution is. I haven't looked into it much because I've never wanted family and children. But it's even more of a challenge. I mean, I find it so much of a challenge just dealing with the everyday interactions between men and women and the political correctness and the censorship and, you know, not being able to get along and even converse and let alone you want to dive in even deeper and risk even more potential trauma in the future with having kids and family, should they be, well, most likely, given the statistics, be taken away from you. Not that they will, but look, going overseas I don't think's the answer anyway, personally. But I think if nothing's going to stop you wanting to move in, get married, have a family, be with her long enough and keep trying to see the real her. Don't fool yourself. Stay with her, I mean, for years before you even discuss moving in together. And I'm saying like 5 years or more, 5 years minimum, 5 or 6, before you even say, okay, let's both rent a place together. Don't move into her place or you move into hers. Don't move into your place or you into hers. Rent a place together so she can't take your house. So basically take finances off the table. Live with her, go on a holiday with her, like I mentioned, a long holiday in a previous video. And then once you've been with her for a few years and tested that in real time, because you can't really trust what someone says, especially a woman will believe what she says, in the same way she believes she's going to start her diet on Monday. But it doesn't mean that that's going to be the reality of living with a person. The reality of being with people will say everything. Men and women will promise the world, but the rubber hits the road when you're actually with them, where they have to test their values. And basically many years of that person investing in you, you both revealing without a shadow of a doubt, as much as you can, that you trust each other completely. Not, I met this person a few months ago and we just knew. Or she said she gave me an ultimatum and she'd leave if I didn't put a ring on it. Well, leave. That tells you. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. But certainly it's challenging if you want family and kids. Because if you want to have good kids, it's best when both family members are in the household. So when both men and women are in the house raising children. Ted, what is love? Oh baby, don't hurt me no more. That away. Yeah, I remember that song. Love, my definition from an old video. I think I coined this phrase. Love for a man is a tree, love for a woman is a Christmas tree. Goofy says, do you think that a female psychologist or therapist can truly understand a man and help him out? Or should we men try to stick to our own sex when it comes to life coaches or therapists? Yes, I think as a reflex, yes. But that's not to say that you might not find the odd female therapist. Given that the majority of therapists in that industry are female, and there's so few men in it, and then so few masculine men that can help you in the frame of reference we're talking about, the chances may start coinciding, if you know what I mean, just simply because there are just a greater number of women. So just by the sheer number compared to the small number of men. So yeah, There are there can be women that can help you from your point of view, because there's a lot of women out there that are pissed off at the way the modern woman acts. So you could get a female that's like that. Yeah, possibly. But as a reflex, look for a male, or have your eyes open. In any case, whoever you interview as a therapist, you interview them. Don't approach it sort of from a person looking for a job and saying anything and just being grateful that you have a therapist. You're there interviewing them to see if they're your friend, or they're your kind of person that can understand what you're saying and they don't try and gaslight and manipulate you. Keep your eyes open. Trust your instincts too. Men don't do that enough. I mean, good instincts, not the I want her, she's hot, but when you feel a red flag, it's like, oh, that doesn't feel good. Yeah, listen to that. Explore that. Yeah, guys, I'm sometimes censoring the swear words. I've got a censor button here because this stream goes live straight away and is posted on YouTube, but YouTube processes the video just before it goes up with their algorithm, and if it notices any curse words or anything that can be construed as negative or un-PC, then it really limits who it sends it out to, who it shows it to, and so forth. So I'm trying to play their game as minimally as I can while still saying what I want. Red Baboon says, any man I know who says he has had a good therapy or therapist seems to say that it is with another man. Yeah, I've heard mostly men say they've been helped by, especially in these issues, about things that are really... from a male's point of view, because let's think about it. A woman can't have a male reference point. She's not a man, and whatever she does know, or even if she is sympathetic, it's just by rote and observation and by sheer will of wanting to see a man's point of view, or she was lucky enough to be raised in a family where she had a couple of brothers where she really respects men. So it's just a crapshoot when it comes with women. Less so with men, but also with a man. Men can kind of tell by the way we speak, how we come across, whether we're mousy and meek or whether we come across as a bit more masculine, and we can understand, we can have a joke with each other. We get how we can take each other. But with a woman, simply because she's the opposite sex, especially if you're heterosexual, your instinct is to always defer to her and say yes all the time. But when you're looking for a female therapist, like I said, you're in a position of not just your biology wanting to say yes to her, but you're broken as well. So you're a zero. You're a compliant, meek person. So in that position, how are you supposed to have good judgment? Because if you get locked into the wrong therapist, and you trust them, and you shouldn't, it's like marrying the wrong woman or getting into a serious relationship with the wrong person. You've locked in your trust, and now you're going to go through a world of pain, and you're going to tolerate it. Trevor says, as someone older, middle-aged, do you find teaching and mentorship the best therapy? Yes, conversation, reading, chats with my peers and people I see that they're not a mirror of me, but they're respectfully civil, live and let live. They don't need to be the same as me. Look at Quasimandias and myself, for instance. We're different guys, but there's a level of harmony between us. We can talk to each other. It's like I found someone that's a rare person that I can talk to, that's simpatico with me. You can't find that very often. And similarly, if you're dating, it's very hard to find that same kind of person. So that simple friendship conversation on the same page helps. It's essential. You don't have to be blueprints of each other, but and also kind of respectful, centered people. Even if I believe black and you believe white, it doesn't trigger the other person. There's an ease in conversation. There's an acceptance of the other person's differences. How do you feel when you talk to the other person? That's important. People try and get too technical. I won't worry about feelings. That's a woman's domain. This guy seems like he's smart. I'll trust him. No. A lot of men have to learn to trust their instincts and their feelings a lot more too. It's not, feelings just aren't a woman's domain. Case in point, we too often we disregard how we feel around the wrong kind of woman because feelings are a woman's domain, and all we do is take data. So, she's good looking, the data's positive. I want to mate with her. She says she's a nice person. That's got nothing to do with feelings. That's just data coming in. I'll trust that. And so we trust false information a lot of times, yet we negate something maybe unquantifiable, but timeless. It's like, why are you ignoring something that's kind of really knocking at the back of your skull? How you feel about something, guys, isn't a bad word. Especially if you've had experience and that thing has been proven right time and time again. So yes, Trevor, teaching mentorship, but especially conversation with simpatico men, good friends, good people. And also yourself, like self-knowledge, reading, bettering yourself in privacy when you don't have other people around you. All that stuff needs to swim together and coalesce. They shouldn't be resisting each other. The people you surround yourself with, the information that's therapeutic for you, the stuff you read, your entertainment, that should all mix. It shouldn't be oil and water. Spekoff says, human is doing it himself. Duh, laugh my ass. I'm not purporting to be a life coach. I never tell people what to do. My stuff's a video diary. I'm hanging out with you guys. I'm having a conversation. If someone says something, I don't put them down. That's the stuff I was disagreeing with. If someone can mentor or coach somebody, fine. I don't like the putting down of people. In case you didn't get the point of my last video. Sorry, was that statement putting you down a little bit? Human, are you in the basement? No. Yeah, Feral Male says you've got to be very careful. Some of these, all the clients of these coaches and therapists and whatever, the people that they're helping, all they are, they're just numbers. They're just an income stream for them. They don't really care. And I tend to see that where they give them really quick, glib binary answers. They give them a one-size-fit-all answer and they move on to the next person. They haven't really listened and given a nuanced response to what the person as an individual has asked, given their circumstance. They've conveyed, oh, this has happened, and what do you think about this and this because of A, B, and C? And the person just plucks out of their mental pigeonhole. It's like, just do A, B, and C. Okay, next question. is a little bit dismissive. But look, that's me. If those guys work for you, more power to you. Sakurid49. Oh, I know a co-worker that is a supposed life coach. Funnily enough, so do I. There's a guy at my work that he's a life coach with his now girlfriend that he's moved in with a year after he got divorced. He got divorced. He was married for 20 years. The guy was broken. And I remember last year having really sympathetic, understanding conversations with him. He doesn't know I'll make these videos, but I think we had really great conversations. I hope I helped him at work, and at lunchtime we had these chats and walks. And he started dating pretty quickly. He met a girl within a few months. She's a therapist. And within the year, they moved in together, and she's teaching him about masculinity. And I'm rolling my eyes. Oh, she's teaching you. Okay. And now they're both life coaches. And they've got a business revolving around helping men. I don't know if they help women as well. Not that women need much. Women need help in different areas, but not in terms of the aspect that men do. Yeah. Maybe it's just me with the term, like, I'm a life coach. Like, it's not like you're a basketball coach. It's like specific. You know, I've got experience. I played for 20 years. I've coached minor leagues, and now I've got the credentials. But it's like today's Instagram models. You just appoint yourself a supermodel. What's next? You start a business online. I'm a CEO. I'm the CEO of my company. So you're the only person making an income stream as a freelancer. MGTOW thread. I do not know what to tell you, but I'm going to be okay. Sorry. Good. Good to hear. Political questions, guys, about what's happening overseas and politics and stuff. I really don't have much of an opinion. I don't care. Sorry. I don't have an opinion. My answers are like one word, one or two words. I'm not really going to provide much value. Vention says, go back to the old times. No smartphones, no bitcoins, no thanks, I'll stay here. Yeah. I don't think a lot of people want to go back to the old times beyond all the luxuries we have. What would you do now? We go back and all you have are books. And what are you going to do for the rest of the day? There'll be some benefits, but if you're in generations now that you've grown up glued to a screen, and the neuroplasticity has made you into a human being in that regard, it will be a shock to the system. People will be sort of throwing themselves off buildings, I think. CK, what's your thoughts on the new AC/DC album? I haven't heard it. I didn't know they released one. I like them. Great band. Andrew asks, if people have been using these systems, they are habitually good at them. How do we move forward given that we are expecting that emotional rise to be worked on? Again, individually, if you sort of latch onto kind of negative reinforcement of being kicked, and that's what works for you, then that's all you're going to get going forward. If that's a muscle you like being flexed. If it's like being in an up and down relationship. The sex is great, but you can't stop being around her, and you can't talk to her. So you're on this roller coaster. So if in the self-help, if you like being kicked, to be put down, to force you to take action for your own good, but then you need to be kicked again. I'm not a fan. So again, as Quasimodo said, take the medicine that works for you, but you're going to be responsible for what you choose to. Ted says human would be an awesome 911 operator. Alpha Male, thanks for the super chat. He says MGTOW can be guilty of fake help too. They say just take this pill and avoid women and all will be well. Not entirely true. One size fits all, or rather doesn't fit all. I agree. I don't like that part of the manosphere. I think it's a quick, ripping the band-aid off binary reflex when you've come from a lot of pain in one moment, in a relationship, divorce, had your kids ripped from you or whatever, that it's kind of like old go as far away from that as possible. How can that never happen to me again? I'll avoid women. I won't approach anything where that could even suggest coming back into my life. I think that's the reaction. But if you stay there, if you can't sleep well at night, you don't have friends, you get depressed, you feel lonely, your life is not truly, truly tranquil. I'm not just saying you need to get online and pontificate like, my life's great, I'm free, everything's great. Don't tell me I'm not free. If you can just calmly be zen about it and you're fine, going monk, you're fine, not interacting with women, relationships or whatever, more power to you. But yeah, it's a very glib response. And a lot of that, avoid women, take the red pill, everything will be sweet, is very short-sighted, especially if you need a bit more substance or your life is a bit more multivariate than that. You need more in it. Okay, other questions or comments under the video. Rick said, don't make statements that are useless. This shaming stuff is the way I got coached in the 1960s. I hated it. If you are trying to help someone, you point them in the right direction. They have to understand how they can win and be successful. Just talking at people and using bully boys shaming never really works. I agree 100%, man. That's a good comment. Let's do another one while we're at it. Paul says, it doesn't matter if someone can tolerate more pain than you or not. I love that. And a lot of these tough love, macho, alpha life coaches, they get off on taking the most amount of pain. It's kind of like the dude bros at the gym. I can lift more weight than you. I can take more abuse than you. I can even take the abuse of my life coach. As I said, a lot of men have come from abuse and they've in their past with their relationships, and so they know, I know what I don't want. I know why I left. I know why it's over. I know what I don't want anymore. I certainly don't need it from a man, because to me it comes off as more betraying, because I know how women act, and then when a man uses the same shaming tactics, I find it a bit more reprehensible, because I expect better from men. Because we've got no one to lean on but ourselves, but other men tend to be more of a direct brotherhood type of reflection, especially what these men say. A lot of these tough love alpha types, they'll say they're for men and, women are nothing but this, and they'll be supposedly for men, but the way they treat men, these alpha bro hard talking life coaches that put you down. I don't know about you guys, but a lot of them, if I knew them, I wouldn't trust them with my garbage. And you can tell when you look at people. You watch Vention. He looks like a guy you could trust. You look at some of these other guys, like, I wouldn't. Nah. Anyway, end of rant. Make your questions stand out with emojis, guys. Trevor, I just bought a house, turning the lounge room into a study. I should have done that. My lounge room's pretty big, and look, I've got my TV and couch there, and I enjoy watching movies when I do. Not that I watch any TV, but I don't use it as much as this study. This study is just, I just converted a spare bedroom into a study, and this has just got my computer and books and drawing board back there, camera equipment, and just so my tinkering experimental play area, my shed is this room. But yeah, I would much rather have this the size of my living room. Good move, man. Main bedroom into a theatre room, adding a second shed. Where do you sleep? Probably secondary bedroom is your main bedroom. Yeah, I can't be bothered restructuring my house. I've constructed this room over the years, and I like it. I just wish it was scaled up twice the size. I mean, it's comforting, and the fact that it's not that big, and it's got so much books and things in it, it helps with the acoustics. So my voice when I'm talking, when I do recordings, it's noise treated sort of on its own without me needing to treat it. So that's a good thing. And the ceilings are low. Okay, the stream jumped again. Sorry if I missed it. So I'm going to the top. Big Jaw 78, thank you for the super chat. I really appreciate it. Question for Human by Danny. He says, your views on prenuptial agreements. Imagine going up to the person you are marrying, by the way, I don't trust you. Can you kindly sign this agreement? I don't trust you. Can you kindly sign this agreement? Well, the way I look at it is, if you really believe the person can, if the person cares about you, if you believe the person cares about you, knows you, you can trust them, then in that light, if the person cares about you and you have a fear of, on financial matters, of being taken to the cleaners, of having a fear of her potentially ruining you financially, if she cared about you, her first reaction is, I care about this person, I want to do everything to alleviate this person, there's nothing I want to take from him. In the same way, I think most guys, if a man wants to sleep with a woman initially, she's going to be resistant. So, I fear this and that, I've been taken advantage of. And a man does everything to alleviate her fears. The fact that a woman, when you're asking her to alleviate your fears and concerns, very real ones, and saying, look, I'm really worried about this, and it would go a long way into taking this fear away off the table, taking the fear of finances and money, the things that ruin relationships, my fear of being not just divorced, but having it added onto by the betrayal of the system and courts and lawyers and things like that. Can I take it off the table? Will you do that for me and if her reaction isn't to alleviate your fears and concerns, then sorry, F her. Because men certainly do it. When women want their fears alleviated, we're patient, we're kind, we in general, I know there are a-holes out there, but in general, we try to alleviate a woman's concerns. But the moment you ask her to alleviate yours, it's like, no, I don't care what your fears are. I find it offensive. You just do what I want. My fears are more important than your fears. My fears are that you will leave me and I won't have any money as recompense. And it's like, oh, okay, that's what you care about. You don't care about mine. Only the best 10 minutes says a man's therapist should never be a woman, ever. I don't completely disagree with you. Like I said, for me to choose a female therapist, I would have had to, not, for me to choose a female therapist that really seemed like she could understand me unbiasedly, I would have had to gone through, my first point of call is for male therapy. And before that, I would have exhausted all of my friends and my personal life before I'd go to a complete stranger, male or female, but I would go to a male first and keep trying to find men. And if I just couldn't find any male therapists, then I would reticently be interviewing female therapists without much optimism. But yeah, as a baseline, yeah, don't get a female therapist. Simply because if your issues are male, why are you going to a female? Similarly, for a woman's issues are female. Look, men can be a bit more objective, and I'm saying that simply because we create the world. We're more interested in abstracts, and so a female, if you're a male therapist and a female in front of you, she's an abstraction that you're interested in and of herself. Whereas women are so self-referential, is that the male sitting in front of her, in most women, it's self-referential again. So he's in some aspects her ex that abused her. She's in some aspects the men that frustrated her, that whatever, you know what I mean. So yeah, find a male therapist for male issues. Mr. Highway, hey man, thank you for the super chat. Subhuman, these days, he says, these days I feel like I'm in a rowboat on a calm sea with nothing but water stretching out to the horizon all around me. I wouldn't call this feeling nihilism, but it is very surreal. Sounds great, man. Yeah, that's how you want to feel, regardless what you want to do. You want to go monk, you want to have lovers, you don't want to have lovers, you want to have this lifestyle, not this lifestyle. If you can honestly have this calm water rowboat feeling that Mr. Highway stated, keep doing it. Take the medicine that you need, read the material, watch the material, talk to people that will keep that serenity. Jake, human, why work hard and improve yourself for women when attraction for women is purely genetic? Well, the important word there is for women. You shouldn't be doing it for women. Just improve yourself for yourself. But unfortunately, most men tend to lie that I'm just going to the gym for myself. But they know the side effects are that they can get women a lot easier. If you took women off the face of the earth, a lot of men will stop doing their so-called passions and hobbies and things that are really important. All of a sudden, they would not be important anymore. They wouldn't be doing them. Similarly, with a lot of women who travel, if there wasn't social media and the ability to tell people and show off, they wouldn't be traveling. Roxanne says, totally agree, humans spend lots of time together before commitment. Yes. Years. Don't forget, if you're the kind of guy that, again, if nothing can stop you getting married, you want kids, you know this, there's no ifs or buts. A woman's got a shorter window. She can't waste a lot of time. So if you get along with her and year after year after year, she doesn't change. She doesn't turn into something. She wasn't acting. She knows she's the one for you. And then after a few years, then you decide to move in together. And if she's spending 10 years with you and everything's always sweet and you can be yourself, don't forget, women won't stick around for very long because of their biological clock, especially they get to their mid-30s. So if you can get a woman and you want to reproduce and have more of a traditional life, if you have a great time with her and she invests years and years with you and you both get along and you can trust her completely, that's your best shot, I think. It's the people that buy into the romantic notion that, we met last month, but when you just know. No, I don't. You're drunk on love. You're drunk on hormones. It's not love. You're drunk on desperation. Here's another. I was thinking about another definition of love today. Modern love, the romantic kind of BS love, is a combination of lust and dependency. I thought that was a fairly good observation of what's expected and what I see out there. But they market it to you as something really mature and self-centered and stable. It's very, codependent. Look, most relationships to one degree or another are. But there's a self-respecting kind of way of knowing. Like some of the comments when guys say, look, I know myself, I'm a very soft, sympathetic guy, I'm not this alpha Chad, I can't be that person. That's good self-reflection. At least you know what you are. You're not pretending and being frustrated by putting on all these different masks and then just wondering, which mask fits me? No mask will fit you. That's the problem. Goofy. What do you think about taking SSRI? My doctor wanted to prescribe it to me and I'm too negative, and according to the doctor, the reason is I have a low serotonin level. Yeah, in terms of your blood work, if there are objective sort of low levels, I would get them addressed, but then you've also got things where if your testosterone is low and you always had problems with your with your libido and you couldn't control yourself and you kept stepping in bear traps. The benefit is, like, I'm thankful that my testosterone is dropped because I'm more clear-headed. But if the negative effects of your testosterone dropping is real serious health issues, where your quality of life is now going to drop off a cliff really fast, then unfortunately, you got to weigh up what's worth it. But definitely get blood work done, and any objective deficiencies in your chemistry, get them resolved. But yeah, look at the side effects too. What are the side effects of having high testosterone? There are a lot of great positives, I can't deny it. But there are some negatives too, depending on how you want to see them. Professor Doc, question, what is your diet strategy for health? Same as time tested. Eat well, eat and exercise. I try and jog or walk, do cardio at least a couple of times a week. And I aim to work out every day, but I have dumbbells and a total gym here in my house, so there's no excuses. So I do between 10 minutes to half an hour every day. If I can do it in the morning, if I can sometimes twice in the day, morning and night. But I don't sort of strategize, on Wednesday I'm going to block out 2 hours and, approach the gym like it's some military operation. It can be quite kind of confronting, whereas I treat exercise and health just making it part of my day, like washing the dishes or washing the clothes. Just get it over with. And then once I do it, it's actually enjoyable. I enjoy it. Sometimes you don't want to do it, but once you're into it, and afterwards especially, you feel great. So if you can do the dishes, because the dishes don't make you feel great other than low level of, oh, well, they're clean now. That feels good. Eat well, exercise. Sort of, it's not rocket science. Look, in terms of weight loss, yeah. Eating windows, or intermittent fasting for the popular term. Find out what works best for you. Intermittent fasting and periods of no food and only water. Taking sometimes I go through those periods where I only take electrolytes and things like that. So take your vitamins and things like that, but you don't eat. But that's just mainly for fat loss, and it's basically a good cleanse of the system. Yeah, I'm not a life coach, guys. I'm just some dude sharing his video diary on his YouTube channel and hanging out with you and having a conversation. And if we can help each other out through this tennis match, dialogue, I think that's where it's at. Trevor, I'm not afraid of oil or water. I like the challenge of reading feminist BS at times as well. Same comes for PUA content. Take the jargon and expand it to perhaps find some truth. Everyone's different. Some people really like that kind of mental training. Some people like the adjustment a little bit different. That works well for them in terms of fine-tuning the balance. So I like clarity as well. I like tough love, but I don't like shaming. To me, it comes off as schoolyard. So there's a nuance to it too, and it depends on what you're like, what you need. Loss Enterprise. Question, Human, how do you deal with the news of having kids? Women are not to be trusted, but it's a biological need to have kids. And I do believe that the kids need two parents. Yep, I agree. Deal with the news of having kids as in a woman surprises you. Surprise, you're a father. I have no idea. You've just got to cope with it and deal with it. Now you're a father. What can you do? You can't pretend that the reality is you're not a father. You are now. Look, just me. I've never wanted that life. I like kids, but I've never wanted to have kids myself. I have nothing against them. But yeah, two parents are needed for healthy upbringing of kids. Research shows it, history shows it, everything shows it. Everything, dysfunctional kids and everything is more correlated with single parenthood and divorces and things like that, without a doubt. You can get exceptions. They can pluck out the successful person that was raised by a single mother, but that person became successful despite having a single mother, not because she was a single mother. And that's what they like to market. Look at this person. They were raised by a single mother. Yeah, despite her being a single mother, he was successful. Clap, but not because of her. But look, I don't discount if the father was a piece of crap, then sure, you'd take the better of two evils. But that's in fact if the father was. Most of the time he wasn't. she just married the wrong person, she made the wrong call, she got bored, etc., etc. Most of the divorces, we already know the stats. Between 50 and 60% of marriages don't last, and the reason for that is a woman files for divorces 75 up to 80% of the time, depending on where you are in the West. Mike says, what? Moved in 1 year after a divorce. Did I say divorce? I meant moved in 1 year after getting to know each other, or meeting after a dating. Sorry if I said something else. Donna says, CK, so you're calling human a mad, which is the highest form of flattery in Australia. Yeah, it is. Sorry if I'm missing some of your comments. The stream's refreshing, and some of your streams that comments that I didn't get to jumped and disappeared. Okay, we've been going for an hour and a half. Let's start heading towards the home stretch, guys. It's been a good one. Nearly 300 people on. Have been on. Alpha male, would you say the manosphere has become as polarized as politics in America? Possibly, yeah. Yeah, people like sort of congregating in little groups. They're kind of playing video games where I'm on this side, we're throwing rocks on that side, and now I move to this side. I've outgrown this side. I want to play another video game. I've played that game enough. There's a lot of people entertaining themselves in the guise of meaning, because it feels more important. It feels like more of a substantial, important video game. But a lot of people are still using it and approaching it like a video game. Soren B, my opinion is that in life there's no one-size-fits-all answers. I agree. Different parenting styles, different experiences make impossible that type of approach when it comes to coaching. Yes. That's why when there's so much of a binary putting other people down way, it's so dismissive, especially when people are paying you hundreds of dollars as a life coach for your answer. They're just grifting these people, some of them. Krista says, I feel people are more unhappy today than ever before, but the mask people wear has also gotten stronger. Yeah. People do share that. Do you share that view? Also, thank you so much for your content. You're welcome. Yeah, I share that view. People double down. What's the saying? I've said it before that women they've really burnt the bridge between them and men, the cooperation. So there's no bridge anymore. So now, because they've gone so far one way, it's kind of like the only way to go is just to go down deeper toward hell and double down, because there's no bridge left to go back to. Like, the trust has been ruined. You might find, in different ways, in terms of if you're a woman and you truly self-reflect and you speak out amongst your sisterhood, and you don't let false marketing of what women and men are and what does and doesn't work, you don't let it slide. But it's like it's so rare that it's almost non-existent that women do that. They're enjoying the candy store of what they get in their youth, and they think they can kind of extend it to their older lives. And it's a reason why white Western women are the greatest takers of of antidepressants and drugs and things like that. It's like it hits you when you get older. Alpha Male, thank you for the super chat. But I agree with your comment that people are wearing stronger and stronger masks. They just keep doubling and doubling down because of a fear to sort of just be honest and real. They go, you know what, I'm sick of this. It doesn't work. Being an alpha bro, I can get women, but I don't like my life. I mentioned before, I came to a point where I was like, I'm doing everything and I've got a really strong, powerful, confident life, but my world is in black and white. And I know, privately and honestly, that's what I feel. I want my world to be in color. I want it to feel alive. I want a bit more honesty. I want it to feel more real than what it is. I don't want to lie to myself anymore. I want to be liked or rejected for who I am. That's real. Evos469, thank you for the super chat, man. His comment is, human, what is your opinion on women who are indecisive on everything? Similar to women who are shy. Be very suspicious, certainly don't move in with them, and get them to come out of their shell. I mean, they don't need to make every decision. You know, if you like what you like, you'll tend to make most of the decisions and be in control of the structure and routines. But if they're okay to follow, but indecisive about even just simple opinions on everyday life, a person hiding, I'm suspicious about. I want the person revealed more and more. If they're shy, it's fine, but indecisive on everything, it might just be a person that's kind of okay to just be led around. And in some cases, some guys like that. I don't want to be challenged by a woman, and whenever I say left, she wants to go right. But I would say be suspicious and investigate what's behind the indecisiveness. If it's just her not being too fussed about what you choose and she's happy to just follow whatever you do, but she doesn't, bust your balls about it, I wouldn't see much of a problem. It's when she starts changing later on. She was indecisive, but now she starts sort of directing things and telling you how she wants things, and she's letting a different side of her out. Okay, the stream jumped again. Thank you, stream. Maybe I'm not reading fast enough. My responses are too long. Krista asks, how much do you think that genuine human connection matters for women, matters in relationships? Women see things differently. Women are more self-referential. They like what a man does for them, how a man makes them feel. It's about them, how they feel, like what the man does, how they look in the relationship, all those sort of things. Men actually feel good about making her feel great. They feel proud of it. There's few women that are proud and go out of their way to give, and then what they get back they feel good about. A lot of women don't care about the first part, and that's the shame, because I found that I can feel good about a woman doing good things for me, but I feel best when it's a tennis match. It's kind of the laws of the universe thing where I give out good to her, and she plays tennis back. That's genuine. It's kind of cycling back. But if I'm sitting there cross-armed and going like, give me more, thank you, more, it's a never-ending hole. Like, you're always wanting. But if there's a tennis match, there's a lack of wanting. There's less of an emptiness. because sort of it's like a circuit, you know, flowing properly. Whereas in a one-way street scenario where one person always needs to be filled and the other person's always the giver, and that's the one-way street. One person gets tired of giving, or they have no more to give, or it's so unfair, and the other person sort of says, oh, well, the giving stopped, I'm no longer interested anymore, see you later. Genuine human connection, in short, I don't think women care about it as much. Because they've been trained, conditioned from birth that they're special no matter what, and through their youth and when they were attractive, when they were younger, the world was given to them on a platter, and they just had to kind of pick the best off the buffet. And they know that men will lie down in traffic for them. When they get older, they've got no reference point. How do you exercise a muscle that you've never exercised? It's dead. Whereas a man's always had to introspect and think, okay, what can I do? How do I change to make her happy? So at least a little bit, a man growing up, to get the woman, he has to do stuff. He has to reflect, all right, how do I dress? How do I act? What do I say? How do I pick up a girl? Even if I use stupid lines, he's thinking internally about how he can get it to work out in the world. She sits there and goes, gimme, gimme, gimme. You know, she thinks, you know I'm Gucci and I'm popular and I'm a high valued brand, and everyone wants me, and the market says it, and and it's reflected on men, or on all these men, and I just have to pick and choose. I know I'm higher in hierarchy than a man in this dating hierarchy, but when you get older, you're still locked in there because you can't think any other way. Men at least have always been exercised in reflecting, what do I need to do to get this? But then you start seeing, I'm not getting any of it back. You start to see the reciprocal nature, the interaction with the outside world and you, what you need to do and how you need to think to interact with the world. Women don't. They're a self-referential sort of static point of, why aren't I getting any more? So I think in general, women don't value genuine human connection as much as men, and it doesn't matter as much. They care about what they're given. They're a one-way funnel. That's how they're being conditioned by society from birth. They're special. Man must become, and in becoming, he exercises a little bit of the muscle of interacting with the world, and what he gives, he'll get back. He'll be rewarded by it. A woman doesn't get exercised in that same way, I don't think, conceptually. Hello to some of you guys from United States, Brazil, South America, Europe. CK, men constantly complicate their lives and justify why they do it. Yeah, so do women. I think, as I said, women do it a lot, but they avoid a lot of mental responsibility. They're wide in a way they can do it. They can avoid their own mental responsibility and the stress of it much better than men. Men have to find out why. They can't let go of why they feel shame or guilt. And they're biologically wired to just want women for no reason at all. We just want them more than anything else. They're cocaine for us. Whereas with women, it's like you know, I don't want this man unless it's for a good reason. There needs to be a reason for it. That's a big difference. CK, human, what are you listening to now? Nothing. In terms of what? Usually I listen to audiobooks, spoken word, or downloaded videos from YouTube while I'm on my run or walk. What's the last music I listened to? It was Deadmau5, Coasted. And you guys, if you have like longer things you want to say, you can always email me. And if I have time, I'll get back to you, but it might not be straight away. But if you have like something longer that you want to discuss or get off your chest or have a bit of a chat, I can in limited doses, depending on just because of my schedule. But yeah, feel free to email me if you have something longer to say. Highlight your questions, guys. Otherwise, I'll just think you guys are chatting amongst each other, which is fine. Elaine, thank you very much for the super chat. Hammerhand, thank you for the super chat. Keep doing you, my man. Cheers. You too. Alpha Male, thank you for the super chat. His comment, too much polarization in the manosphere. It's like American politics, both sides are stubborn. Yes, I agree. You get locked in, you find a fraternity, like we're all, you know, I'm not alone. I've got all these guys and we all believe in the same Bible and we all repeat the same things and we're going to fight against the world and other groups. Yeah. Video game. Vention says, you're not a father unless the paternity test checks out. Given the West and a great many women, it's funny because it tends to be true a lot of times. Max says, I now regret telling a woman about my personal past. If she kind of doesn't ruin your life with it, but in terms of just opening up and being yourself, I would still always suggest be completely honest, because at least you're not hiding anything. It's about you. So you've got no regrets. So afterwards, it's not like, you know, you regret if I was more myself, if I wasn't putting on this act and being too macho, she may not have left. Maybe she left because I was hiding a lot, or I was putting on this show that I knew she liked to see. I don't think there's any wrong about being open with a woman. Again, at least you'll be rejected for you. But yeah, if you're worried about her coming back and ruining you with that information and ruining your life, yeah, sure, okay. Feral male, the most terrifying words a man can hear. I miss my period. CK, Google moderator team just deleted one of your comments. What did you say? All right, an hour and 43 minutes. We've been going through it for a lot of comments. Where are we up to in the comments under the last video? I've done that one. And I've done that one. Okay. Red Rebus says, I learned a really good lesson from one of those New Age weekends. You become what you resist. Yeah, I think Wayne Dyer said what you resist persists. It's another way of saying it. And another comment by David G. As I always tell the younger men I know for life's issues, this is in terms of sort of bullying life coaches, pride is useless. Not to be confused with self-respect and valuing yourself, but to be pressured by others and values outside your own is folly. I agree. Fulgore says human, Merlot or Pinot Noir. I'm not a drinker, sorry. I'm not versed in wine. If you ask me Pepsi or Coke, I'd say Pepsi. That's how lowbrow I am. Not that I drink those much anyway. Pepsi Max to be more specific. If I do indulge in a crappy drink that's no good for me, it's Pepsi Max. The times I do have wine is just to be polite when people are toasting, like at a wedding. I'll take a sip and I'll leave it. The only wine I tend to be able to drink and enjoy is dessert wine, because it's like a soft drink, really. It's sweet. I tend to like the ones that aren't bubbly anyway, but I'm not a wine drinker. Public Poet, how often do you do these live chats? Usually once a week. I used to do 2. I just found it hard to fit in. And I found the ones I do in the morning are more switched on and coherent. By the end of the day, I've done ones where I'll try to accommodate another time zone, and I'll stay up late and do one at 11 p.m. or 12 midnight. I don't think I'm as awake, and I don't think it's as fun for you. I could be wrong. Let me know. But usually I do one a week. It's usually... I used to do them on Wednesday... not Wednesday night. That was the old one. I used to do them Thursday morning, and now I usually do them on Friday or Saturday morning. But now it's Sunday, so I'm lying again. But usually one a week, and I'll let you guys know. So I'll post it either at the end of a video or in the community section on my channel. So yeah, and when I post these live streams, I'll schedule them so you'll get a notification on my channel anyway, hopefully. Travis says, what are my thoughts on ingesting testosterone? Again, before, I think someone asked me a similar question. If your blood work shows you're deficient in it, or if lower testosterone is negatively affecting you, yeah, adjust your blood work. If you need testosterone, take it. But then again, it's like if the benefits of having lower testosterone means that you're more sensible in regards to women, you're not as excited by women, because that's one of the side effects of... I know some guys attribute it when they take Tribulus, but certainly when they get their testosterone elevated pharmaceutically or by a doctor, be aware of side effects too. But yeah, correct your blood work if it's affecting your life negatively. But I don't welcome being pulled by my attraction towards women by having my testosterone elevated. I do enjoy retaining more muscle mass and my workouts and exercises benefiting. So yeah, but take care of your health, guys. Take care of your health. Eos Logos, human, my ambivalence to having children mainly stems from recognizing that most people tend to have children for selfish reasons. Do you think this is more or less objective? Yes. Most people do. You see it by the way they treat their children. They show off to others. They don't treat their kids well. They don't parent well. They look at them as an accessory, a thing to have. Yep, I think most people do it for selfish reasons. You know, even if it's just a biological drive, is that a selfish reason in terms of a human organism? I don't know. But yeah, I generally agree with that statement. Alpha Male, thank you for the super chat. They says the red pill is not a philosophy. It's a praxeological and intersexual dynamics. Yes, the praxeological aspect as well. Theory turned into practice. That's the thing that's missing from a lot of guys. The praxis of all this talk. No one implements it. No one tests it. No one says the words that they say here. When a woman's in front of them, they just have their tongue hanging open and they just say yes, yes, and they agree to everything just to get into her pants. The praxis of using this stuff, the ethical application of, this philosophical thought, like standing up for it. And you'll be amazed at how good you feel when you say the words you finally didn't give yourself permission to say, because they're true and you feel proud about it. Telling a woman to or saying no to something when you really mean no, and not just being agreeable because you don't want her to drift away. Yeah, the practice of this stuff is something that's sorely missing. And a lot of the shame-based stuff from these gurus, they pull you even further backwards and make you further unable to sort of have that praxeological aspect, the ethical practice of applying these things verbally and structurally in your life. If you're just being shamed because you're a loser, what's the chances of you're going to be able to open up and speak the words that you proudly want to speak and stand up for yourself when you're in front of Pumpkin in front of you? Good night, Fulgore. Vention says, strange that I can't super chat from Mexico. So that, am I assuming that you're not in Mexico? Are you back home now, Vention? Elaine, thank you for the super chat. He says, keep the great work. You have been a great mentor for me. Thanks, man. Thanks for the kind words. I hope some of my words help. Whoa, that was a jump. Okay. Vention asks, human, do you take Bitcoin tips, bro? I stay far away from PayPal. Sorry, man, I haven't gotten into Bitcoin. Don't know anything about it. It just seems like another language to me. I yeah, I admire you're very much into it. I know, and it sounds like you've done well. Remember, if you want to ask a question, guys, make sure you highlight them, put emojis, bracket them so they stand out. Alpha Mailed, thank you for the super chat. He says PUA's invented the red pill. Did they? There is evidence for it on blogs since 2002. Without PUA, there would be no red pill. I think the Matrix invented the red pill. It just meant enlightenment, and then maybe they sort of used it in the context of picking up women. I don't think they invented it, but maybe as an online group, they may have in 2002 used it as a slogan. I don't know if that's true. Helpful to know. Alpha Mailed, thank you for the super chat. He says, shout out to Dirty Santa, aka Hammerhand. Miktiel Monga says, the only philosophical women have rather strong autism, at least that has been my observation. Mike, how old were you when you went bald? I started, my hair started thinning. So I haven't gone bald, but my hair started to thin out, I think, in my early 30s. And I always knew when that started to happen, I wasn't going to be one of those guys doing comb overs and getting hair implants and all that kind of stuff. And I always wanted that look, but I was very thin and skinny when I was younger, and I tried shaving my head once or twice when I had a full head of hair, and everyone told me I looked sick. So as I got older and I filled out and I gained a bit more weight, it all sort of fell into place. And when I wanted to, and I thought it was like probably better to shave my head for simplicity's sake. And I'm more of a practical guy anyway. I hated all the upkeep of hair and styling and shampoo and all that. Yeah, shaving my head no longer started to look like I was sick. But yeah, early 30s. And from then on, I haven't looked back. It's great not to have to buy shampoo. It's just, yeah, as a guy, you buy one of those 3-in-1 things where it's face, body, and hair shower gels, and that's all you need to get. Eric Wade, thanks for the super chat, man. I really appreciate it, dude. He says, great to see you, human. Great to hear from you. I can't see you. Let's do the final comment from my video from none other than Spetsnaz. He had a really good one that I pinned to the top in case you guys missed it. He said he had a coach back in the day that used to tell him pain is temporary, pride is forever. It was always about working on your weak points up front and giving them priority. He always said ego is an unreliable voice or narrator. Yes, it's very important. It'll just tell you what you want to hear. Yes. It was about building you up through honest self-reflection, never putting you down. This is important. Your internal voice and narrator, if you like these life coaches putting you down, then chances are your internal voice and narrator is someone who typically puts you down as well, and you respond to that because that's what you're used to. Perhaps you need something else to move forward in your life and go to a new frontier that's better than all the mistakes and BS of your past. A lot of good conversations going on in the stream too. Keep it up, guys. Don't forget to subscribe, share my videos around, all that good stuff that keeps my channel alive. I appreciate it. CK says, was human ever a drinker? No. I've tried it. Tried smoking once in high school, I think it was. I coughed my lungs out. I said, why the hell do people like this? It's like everyone gets kicked in the groin, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, well, let's experience it. Everyone loves it. Everyone's addicted to it. I'll see what it feels like. And I get kicked in the groin, and I go, what's wrong with all of you people? I'm never doing that again. LA says, human, do you value growth mindset in relationships, or do you find that flaky? Growth, yeah, but not constant change. I'd like to have a stable impression of the person without constant challenging and changing and moving and the goalpost shifting all the time. Like I know myself, I'm pretty set in thinking I know relatively who I am, what I like, my routines, what tastes I have, but I'm always growing, or I like to think I am, and I'm always open in that way. And another person that I actually am compatible with, they're in a similar way. But not that you form a bond with, and then tomorrow you're not sure if they're going to be the same person again. That kind of growth, no. Horizontal growth, yes. Vertical, no. If you know what I mean. Let's say like horizontal growth, yes. Change, no. Musical chairs, no. Okay, where are we? Invention, human. From here, super chats devolve to pesos, but my credit card's in dollars, so it refuses to transfer. Oh well. Geez, yeah, I don't know how it works. I don't know how the other guys, why it's easy for them and not for you. It might just be the limitations of where you are at the moment. Invention. That's all right, man. I appreciate the effort. All good. All right, we've been going for just over 2 hours, which is pretty much the limit. So let's wind this down. Yeah, have an interesting day. Have a wonderful day, Roxanne. Morpheus invented the red pill. No, the Wachowski, I can't call them brothers now. The Wachowskis invented the red pill in the way it's interpreted in the manosphere. Elaine says, what are your views on Barbarossa and how long has he been around? I think he's great. I think he's wonderful. I haven't got a bad thing to say about SC says life coaches are the occupational equivalent of the slutty friend women go to for advice on relationships. That's a great analogy. Hale says, hey human, the girl I mentioned earlier who rejected me is a friend in my group. How do I maintain my friendship with her whilst I have my feelings for her? Yeah, that's a hard one, trying to go backwards. That's the reason why I've never been able to sort of reverse and have a pre-lover relationship and just be kind of platonic friends with a former girlfriend. I mean a serious one, where you've crossed the line and you've been committed and it's been like a meaningful relationship and your family and everyone knows, and then kind of you can kind of go back conceptually and like, oh, let's pretend that none of that ever happened, and then you see them with someone else and then it's like, oh, I remember that, but that's not me, that's someone else. Oh, that feels weird. Hats off to people who can do it. I never got it. Maybe it's my upbringing, maybe it's my DNA. I just find it really odd. Once you've sort of crossed that line, it's like once you've seen something, you can't unsee it. Once I felt something, I can't unfeel it and go back to a state prior and pretending it didn't happen. Maybe it's my problem. I don't know. That's just the way I am. And a lot of guys are the same way. Jackie B says, you said earlier you wanted to be liked or disliked for who you are. Do you think that stems from just wanting a response, just wanting to be seen? Maybe. Not just from a response. I want to engage with my world and people in a more honest way. In terms of, you know, when you go to work, you have to quack and walk like a duck to a greater degree than you can actually be yourself, because that's part of the role. You have to dress a certain way. There's a formality when you go to church, when you're part of a wedding group, or, you know, grooms and brides and all that kind of stuff. The comfortable real you that you share with your friends and family when you're just hanging out at home or just chatting over a coffee, that's on the back seat. That's really at the forefront is the formality of how you're supposed to be. So I think a lot of people today, especially because they're behind screens, they don't really have real basic human interactions like that. There's a lot of formality. There's the formality of the screen, formality of fake relationships, formality of walking and quacking like a duck at work, the politics. So wanting to be seen, wanting to experience life a lot realer than what it is. There's too much formality out there. There's too much politics. There's too much picking groups and identifying with the group. So you is always taking a back seat. So then when you try to get into intimate relationships or try and have a lover from what standpoint? You know, I'm I don't know. I'm a right-leaning manosphere, MGTOW, whatever. You're not human. Like, I'd rather be more human than more MGTOW or more politically right or more a supporter of this. Wanting to be seen for the very basic pedestrian naked version of who you are. Because I don't know about you, but I enjoy my life when I'm relaxing and I can just be in my tracksuit and t-shirt and have a pizza and a drink with family and friends. Figuratively speaking, that ambience. I don't like the formal ambience of putting on a mask and being on stage, and that's the way I interact with lovers and friends and people. I want to be more me, if that kind of makes sense. So yeah, maybe I don't disagree with you, but yeah, wanting a response, but definitely wanting to be seen, yes, for who I really am and not how I need to act to get your approval or a job's approval or political approval. It's not that important to me, because where life is lived is in the personal, not politically, not the approval of men or women or whatever. You never touch that. It's this idea that's over the horizon. That's never part of your personal life. I think people notice that mostly when they're alone or feel lonely or depressed. It's like, yeah, when you can't engage with that external. Sean says, stay with what makes you happy. Human females are not worth my time. Fair enough. If you're happy on your own, completely honestly happy, and you can honestly say that days feel great and you're never down, more power to you. LA says, human, you were designed to be hairless. Guys, don't troll in the comments section or I'll get rid of you. Keep it civil and mature. CK, how old is human? I'm 49. Goofy asks, where do you meet women these days? I have no idea. Everyone at work is married. My friends have found themselves a partner, so I have nobody to go out with anymore. I think online. Dating apps, dating sites, which are awful. Awful. So, I don't know, man. Good luck. I don't have an answer. It's a dumpster fire. LA says, human, are you a coffee or tea drinker? I've limited my coffee to one a day. But more of a tea drinker. I'm more health orientated because I want to sleep better. I want my life to be better. I want to be more mentally and physically kind of alive as long as I can. And so I'd rather, on balance, eat things that are less tasty, but better for me. So, yeah, it's I want to limit my coffee. If I can get off it completely, I'll be happy. But especially in the morning, just to kind of like snap me awake, I'll have one. But hopefully I can get off that routine as well. It's not a big deal. I think it's when you start having like 6 cups of coffee a day. Krista says, asks, are you ever scared knowing what you know? How do you deal with it? Asking for a friend. I always felt more afraid not knowing. The more I can kind of get a hold on things and find the answers that make sense to me, that help me operate better in my life. It's always been better to me to alleviate fear and stress. What's scary to me is acting just to fit in, not speaking, fearing the unknown. There's enough of that in life without just kind of making it all like that. Again, depends on what you like. Some people couldn't care less. That's just the way I'm wired. I don't know why. Lubomir says, my reflection on you, you are intelligent and curious, but maybe a bit boring, predictable, surprise us and roar like a lion. Yeah, a pretty good assessment. I think that's why a lot of women get bored after a couple of years. It's like, oh, well, this is the way human is. He's never going to change. There's no more surprises. I am what I am. Funnily enough, they like me a lot at the start. The women I do get along with and have relationships with. I don't get it. To me, like, if I like the woman at the start, it's like, don't change, stay like that, be frozen like that. But for some reason, they want the opposite. Okay, let's try and wrap this up. Some really good questions, guys. Thanks for chiming in, and you guys are making some really nice points and sharing a lot of good stuff around. Nostalgia Chubby, thank you for the super chat, man. LA says, I've lost more relationships by being honest than by lying. Yeah. What can you live with, though? If you can live with lying and keeping relationships. But I'm assuming most of us guys, if you enjoy these conversations, you enjoy my videos, I'm assuming you really can't live that way. I feel, yeah, I'm not proud of myself when I'm lying to myself. What's the saying? I can't remember who said it. It was an old writer, philosophy. Says, we almost never ever lie to other people. Most of the time we lie to ourselves. Nostalgia Chubby, thank you for the super chat. Be civil, guys. Nico says, filter or espresso? I think it's filter. It's similar to the Nespresso machines, with a little pod. Although I'm using an Aldi one. I don't like the Nespresso coffee. It just tastes like dirty water to me. Whereas the Aldi pods, to me, they have really nice flavour. So Aldi's a supermarket here in Australia. I don't know if you've got it overseas. So yeah, Aldi coffee pods. Hey Spetsnaz, how are you? Did you catch us? We read your comment out. Thanks for sending it. Humans should do manosphere ASMR. You can talk. Your voice is a lot better than mine, man. Especially now. Go check his stuff out, guys. The audio's top notch. So are the insights. Red Pill Mentor Tokyo, how are you, man? Thanks for coming on. He says, if only I could binge on junk food while getting healthier. If you were sprinting on a treadmill while eating junk food, as long as the rate at which you're burning stuff is higher than the rate of calories, could you? Then you'd throw up. How long can you go before you throw up? CK, are you a professional broadcaster in real life? Nah, no way. Not with my voice. I think my audio setup is making me sound better than what I am in real life. I just think I have a normal voice. In fact, I'm like most people who don't like their voice when they hear it back. I've gotten used to it because I've been making videos for a while, so that's helped me get over myself. Don't forget to subscribe and share my videos around, support, thumbs up, comments, all that good stuff. It helps my channel stay alive, and I appreciate it, guys. Eos Logos, human, to what extent do you think the disparity between how men and women's love conceptually allows us to ever really be compatible to share that authentic masked discourse that you speak of? To share that authentic unmasked discourse that you speak of? Well, I think it originates from you specifically, because you can't make her, because you don't know if she's being honest, especially from the start, because you don't know her as much or as yet at all. So again, your responsibility, be who you are. You want to ask a question, ask it. You want to say your no's, say them, say your yeses. Don't be compliant because you don't want it to leave, because your biology doesn't want the eggs to go away. Be rejected for your open self, for who you are, the way you are around your friends. Because it's better to be rejected for who you are than the mask you put on. Because then it's kind of a double embarrassment later on. It's like, she left, and I don't know why she didn't left, and I don't want to admit that's because I put on this clownish alpha lion suit as well, and I have no idea. There's just too many questions. The clarity of being yourself, and the clarity of knowing when to tell a person to go away, no, or whatever, that's a lot clearer, even in retrospect. And if you did make a mistake, you can go, yeah, I know I made a mistake. But when it's ambiguous, when you're wearing masks, that's when you can sort of tear yourself apart mentally later on. Because you can't do anything about it later on anyway. Operate from a place from not wearing a mask as much as you can. Because think about it. What's wrong with just being honest with your opinions? What's wrong when she says, I want you to turn left, and you go, no, I don't feel like it, or not yet, and she gets annoyed? You know what kind of personality she has. Do you want to be around that person? Nikos, you should have screen more straight so it doesn't hurt your neck for looking over so long. As in turning my head. Well, here I've got my Streamlabs, and I can see my feed. I can see what you guys see. I can see my levels and everything. Camera's in the middle, and on the right is the feed, the browser, YouTube. So I need to keep an eye on them all. So it can't all just be in the middle. And it feels comfortable. And it's a bit sort of dynamic. I'm not just sort of sitting in one spot for 2 hours like this, like a monolith. Human, I think it's funny when you refer to yourself as human. Me too. It's stupid. One day, maybe I'll get tired of the moniker, but for now, there's too many spurgs out there wanting to dox you. I'm trying to be as open as I can without being reckless. Willardum says they don't want change, human. They want you to fit into their constantly changing frame of needs and wants and all that without telling you, of course, because then it's not thrilling enough. Or W/E or whatever, I think. Yeah. When things are left unspoken and you have to just guess and read minds, I mean, what's the point? Yeah, it's unromantic, but I don't care. I'm tired of wasting time and trying to figure out what you feel depending on what day, what hormones you're on, and I don't know. I don't care. Be direct, be honest. I don't have the time to play games. I don't play games with my family and friends. They don't make me guess. So why should I have to with a woman? But it's not romantic. Yeah, don't care. Eric Wade for Spetsnaz, Strength and Honor. Great film, by the way. I rewatched it about a month ago. Gladiator. Yeah, Spetsnaz says that him and I are actually the same person. Why do we get confused? I think people from Australia can tell the stark difference between our inflections in our voice, but I think people from other countries overseas, they can't really tell much of a difference between someone who has a New Zealand inflection, an Australian inflection, English. Maybe English is a bit more obvious. Yeah, so I think we can tell down under, and New Zealand, but I think other parts of the world don't pick up on the little nuances. It's kind of similar to when, I notice people in the United States when they can tell, well, you're from Canada, you're from Boston, you're from Chicago, and it's like, I can't tell. Ted, human, when are you moving to America? The way it is now, never. But I do want to visit there in the future. Maybe I'll do a tour while I'm there visiting friends and catch up with one or two people in the States that I trust that are in the manosphere. Oh. All right, let's head toward the finish line, guys. I know I've said it a few times, but you guys have got some nice questions. You're still asking questions, but I don't want to go for 3 hours. We're getting to 2.5 hours. This is already longer than I wanted to go. Quickly, Genesis, not stupid to me, just funny, especially when you quote others as addressing you as human. Huh, okay. Thanks for the super chat, Leon. I appreciate it. He says, hey, human, I hope you're having a good day. Thank you. You too, Leon. I hope you're enjoying the stream. I think that's about it, guys. Unless you guys have any more questions, let's wrap it up. Let's not get to 2.5 hours. I don't want this... I mean, it's fun to do in real time, but when this goes up on YouTube as well, if it gets too long, no one's going to want to watch it as well. I mean, on the other hand, it may encourage more people to sort of join in and have a live conversation like this. Yeah, Spetsnaz says, try this. Type the word monogamy into Google and see what comes up. It's like a dirty word. Yeah. Type in into Google Images. I think people have already done this in the last couple of weeks. Type in a happy Asian woman and see the images. Then type in happy black woman and see the images. And then type in happy white woman and then just see the very different images for a happy white woman. All right, guys. I'll talk to you very soon. Have a great day. Enjoy your Sunday if you're in Australia. Enjoy your Saturday night if you're in the US. And I'll see you in the next video and the next super chat next week. Cheers.